Oh shit. All right. That was not the best start. We are live. Welcome back to the channel, to the live stream. This is our second solo live stream. I apologize for the first one. I did not coordinate it well because my Wi-Fi went out. So we're trying to do this again. The topic of the stream pretty much still applies. So we'll jump into that in just a second. And we'll go from there. I'll give everyone a couple minutes to get in here, but pretty analytical topic, a little bit subjective, a little bit objective. You guys can let me know what you think of it. But today essentially we're going to be talking about why I don't think the Pokemon card market is going to be crashing anytime soon for a multitude of reasons, but I want to take the approach of the macroeconomic viewpoint right now, the larger, the broader market outside of Pokemon in traditional finance as well, which I am no expert in. So let me just caveat this. I know I try to disclaim it in videos now, but I need to be super clear for anyone who's thinking about investing and watching this channel. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just my own opinion and also how I see things and why I don't think there's really any evidence of things slowing down anytime soon. Feel free to discuss with me in the comments and debate. It's all healthy stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to give my stance on it based on what I'm seeing, and especially since I've been following the traditional markets a little bit more. But again, I'm a 25-year-old trying to figure out some extra ways to make money, but also understanding how these markets work. And I do think there's some overlap with traditional finance as well, but not as much as maybe some people make it seem. But anyways, everyone welcome. Let me know if you're here. I know there's just a couple people in the chat right now, but so just to clarify, this is not like a complicated thesis. Other people have probably talked about this in their videos as well. I just want to give my stance on it. We'll dive right into it in just a second here. So essentially what I want to look at is, first of all, let's see if I can pull up the right window. First of all, for any of you that don't know, the S&P index, this is the index of the 500. Well, it's not the 500 most valuable companies. I don't think it might be. There's a committee that decides who's in the S&P index, but it's essentially the 500 most valuable companies in the stock market. The first data point that I want to bring up, which should be pretty obvious to anyone who follows stocks or has 401ks or anything like that, and they have someone manage their money, even, you can ask them about this. But essentially, the S&P index is at its all-time high of about $6,300. It cracked 6,300, I think, sometime today. It actually cracking. Yeah, so it went above 6,300 somewhere here. It's not super important. What's important is to just highlight that the broader markets are doing very, very well. And the big reason for this, honestly, is because of companies like NVIDIA. So for any of you that don't know, NVIDIA has recently become the most valuable company in the entire world. They're valued over $1 trillion. And something I wanted to show is that for the first time ever, a company other than Apple has actually surpassed the next, I don't want to say this, the next trillion. So the first $1 trillion company was Apple, August 2nd, 2018. The first company to reach 2 trillion was also Apple in 2020. The Apple was also the next company to reach 3 trillion, but for the first time ever, Apple has been dethroned by NVIDIA, which is producing all of these GPUs that help build the, I believe, the AI chips that all these companies are wanting to use for AI. So I believe NVIDIA and a lot of these AI companies are leading the market right now. But all of that is just to say things are looking pretty good as far as traditional stock market is going. We also have, for any of you who follow crypto, obviously it's on my cautious watch list, but Bitcoin, it's down a little bit right now. I don't have any Bitcoin, have no exposure to it, but I just want to comment. Bitcoin also cracked an insane new all-time high recently. So I don't even have to go 3 months ago. It was just a couple days ago, I think. I believe it reached, $123,000. So that's nuts. I don't think Ethereum's at an all-time high, but Bitcoin, sort of the gold of digital currency to a lot of people, is at an all-time high. So just to recap really quick, we have the S&P index, the 500 most valuable companies in the world, or at least in the United States, at an all-time high. We have NVIDIA becoming the first $4 trillion company in the world, the most valuable company in the world. We also have Bitcoin at all-time high. And so all of this is just to start leading down the road of saying, you have people like Rudy making videos all the time saying he has more buyers than ever. He can't keep up with the volume. A lot of people are paying in crypto because a lot of people are probably cashing out any Bitcoin or other coins that they have that are reaching new all-time highs. Sorry, I did not mean to open Discord. We will close that. That was not supposed to happen. So we have that. We have, also you have like Meta. I don't know if any of you follow Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, but let me just see like Meta poaching AI talent. So for any of you that don't know, this guy, Mark Zuckerberg, is an absolute maniac. I don't know which article to really look at, but he's pretty much been hiring every top AI researcher, engineer that he can get his hands on, from OpenAI, from Google, from a lot of these startup AI companies as well that are performing really well. So just recently he poached 2 more big ones. I mean, he's been offering them insane contracts of like $100 million plus $200 million contract extensions. And so he's spent in the billions already on hiring AI talent. But again, this is all just to say, like, there is no indicator, in my opinion, from the broader crypto finance market so far that has showed any slowing down. And so how that translates back to Pokemon is there's probably a lot of people who are cashing in on traditional finance and seeing opportunities in Pokemon if they can. But this is also just to say, like, things are going well, I think, like a lot better than people online make things seem. So I just want to remind everyone of that. However, we also have to point out the downsides. So there are some downsides, which is, that bull markets can flip pretty fast. So it's worth tracking those things. One indicator that people use is called the Fear and Greed Index, which CNN has on their website. So pretty recently, within the last month, things have flopped from neutral to extreme greed. That means people are getting pretty greedy. It tells you how they evaluate fear and greed. It's pretty much 7 indicators that track stock market behavior. So in general, people are starting to get more risk on and not as risk averse. So they're not trying to avoid risk as much. So people are buying these, very low market cap companies. They're buying there's a lot of option inflows, I think. And so people are willing to be more risky with their money. We see that in Pokemon as well. People paying astronomical prices for, wow, that's fun. People paying astronomical prices for tag team PSA 10s, vintage PSA 10s. And by astronomical, I just mean like all-time highs. Like maybe they're not, maybe they're normal price targets for people, but it's all just to say that things are still going very, very well. And there's a lot of political factors at play as well. So obviously, I'm not going to dive too deeply into those, but the most obvious one is like Trump's tariffs that are supposed to, at least in the US, I think, but it affects other countries. But Trump's tariffs are set to potentially take effect, I think, in August. And again, I wouldn't correlate this to a one-on-one with Pokemon, but this is all just to say that like there could still be some downturns in the future, but as of right now, I don't see any evidence of it. All the people online talking about it, I don't think they know what they're talking about in some cases. However, I will point out, so this is a tweet from the Wall Street Engine that says Goldman Sachs, which is a big financial institution, says that the S&P 500, again, the top 500 most valuable companies, I believe, should keep going for the next couple of weeks. And they posted this July 1st, but loses steam in August. Historically, July is the strongest month for the S&P index with an average of 1.67% gain since 1928. And the first 2 weeks are usually the best. So they have a pretty interesting chart here that pretty much shows the percentage gain of that S&P index every month of the year for the last 10 years. And you can see July, all the stuff in blue is a positive percent increase, and the ones in yellow are negative. So it is possible that in August and September, if we see slower months, that could translate to Pokemon. Again, I don't think there is a 1-to-1 ratio of traditional finance goes one way, Pokemon follows, or it goes the other way and Pokemon also follows suit. I just am trying to show you guys because here's the thing. For me, I was not into traditional finance until recently. I would put money away into my 401k or whatever, but had not been contributing to the stock market at all until more recently. And I do think it does play a role, both stocks and crypto, equities and crypto or whatever. But I'm no expert on this. I just am trying to speculate why other potential reasons why the Pokemon market is doing so well. Obviously, we have things like Pokemon Pocket and all these other things that all these other partnerships, which I'll get into in a few minutes. But you know, the big thing too is that just like supply seems to be tightening without like a huge crash in demand. So I mean, maybe supply isn't tightening in the sense that like I know a lot of people are seeing black and white in stores today, but it seems to be mostly getting bought where people can find it. Let's see the prices today. So Reshiram's around, I mean, the lowest list is 280, so I'm assuming the price is just dropping and the market price hasn't adjusted. That's 280 for Japanese. So 325. So these will continue to go down. I would be careful buying any of these singles right now. But the ETBs are what, $90 on TCG Player? And I think you can get them in store for like 50 or 60 bucks. There are some really cool cards in here, actually. I haven't even looked through all the cards, but it seems like the set's doing pretty well today. And we'll just have to continue to see. I honestly think a lot of these SIRs and IRs will drop pretty significantly in price in the sense that there's just so many of them. But for people master setting or looking for particular cards, it's going to be very hard to find them. And so, yeah, I just don't really see a slow in demand yet across the board with a lot of the booster box sets, especially. Like, I mean, you go look at some of these prices, they're holding pretty steady, if not some of them going up. You have Paldea going up. You have Surging Sparks going up still, which is pretty impressive. And, it seems like any bulk modern products that you can get from distribution are selling out still. I don't have distro access, so don't quote me on that. But from the people I know that do have distro access, these items are selling out. Or as far as like they're trying to still get like the best allocation they can, putting max allocation. And there is a lot more people holding on to sealed products. So that is something we have to acknowledge. I don't think that it's as much as people think, in the sense that it's not millions of people investing in sealed products, but there is a lot more than in 2020 or 2021, the start of Sword and Shield, for example. But I mean, we're seeing Rudy brought this up where it's like you have a modern set like Destined Rivals eclipsing 280 again, 285 before shipping and fees. And you still have sets like Silver Tempest at 350, which I do think will correct itself over time. But yeah, man, I just don't see the slowing of the growth that people. I mean, some prices have stabilized, but they've reached. They're still in the 200s for all these boxes. Um, Paldea Evolved and 151, they're not seeing any major signs of, 151 especially, you're not seeing ETB reprints. I know there's still probably some of the bundles and the Blooming Waters probably still getting circulated. But, I mean, it's pretty crazy how the era's coming to an end. Some of these sets like Paldea and 151 are going to phase out next year. Like, it's not like they're going to be around for and being reprinted for the next several years. Like they're gone soon, or relatively soon. And I'm not trying to cause FOMO by saying that. I'm just saying if you want to get these items, now is probably a good time before they go much higher. But I mean, look, I'm not signed in TCG Player, so I can't look at all the sales volume. But someone bought 7 at 375 a piece, which is crazy. This box was what? 150 a year ago, 131 a year ago. And it's almost tripled in price since then. Almost 200% increase in a year. So absolutely nuts. Obviously, the Magikarp has a big role to play in that. But I mean, even ones like 151, the ETB is just taken off now. I mean, I think there's sales in like the 270s on this thing now. Yeah, I mean, lowest list is 256.51 plus 14.99 shipping. The next lowest is 275. So you're really looking at a 270, 275 ETB. I think all these prices don't include shipping in them as well. So, I mean, even this product in the last 3 months is up 20%. Obviously, in the last year, it's up over 300%. It was a $65 ETB a year ago. It is now $257. This is the issue with Pokemon not reprinting products that are in high demand. Obviously, they are reprinting bundles. They are reprinting, what are they called? Blooming Waters. They're trying to quench the demand still. But, I mean, even bundles are at $70 a bundle now. So, I think, how much are packs? Let's sort by best selling. Booster packs are $11. So they're starting to climb as well. I know these were $10 the last couple weeks. So $11 a pack would be $66 for 6 packs. So a bundle really doesn't carry that much of a premium as far as this goes. I do think the bundles are probably a decent pickup right now. You can get them at a little bit of a discount. But I don't think they have Blooming Waters on here. Let me see. Blooming Waters. Let's see what it's at. Because Blooming is like kind of a good indicator for 151, I feel like, just because it's like one of the more heavily reprinted ones. Yeah, I mean, bro, if it's back at 125, these reprints are doing nothing. Nothing. Yeah, lowest list, 128.99, lowest list of an actual sealed one. So you're talking 130 to 140 probably. I mean, it's probably more than 140 shipped for one of these with shipping and tax. This thing dropped. When did it drop under? I mean, every time this thing has dropped, it's dropped for like 2 weeks, and then it goes back up to 130 plus. Like, I'm not sure, especially with everything Pokemon has in the queue, probably to get reprints. Like anything they're printing with 151 or some of these other sets that are really popular, like maybe Surging or others, if they're not in that 10-month queue, I'm guessing that they're just expediting these reprints, like putting them maybe ahead to the front of the queue. I know people say they're fully booked out, but they probably have a way to expedite some of the printing, but it's just not enough. Like, they put Blooming Waters out there into these Costco's or whatever, and it just gets gobbled up. It's not it's not like the supply is causing actual significant price decreases, in my opinion. Like, this stuff is still so expensive, or maybe not expensive, but like it's holding its price very strong. Um, so I'm not sure I'm seeing the signs of slowing that people are mentioning. I know we've talked about this previously, but I'm just trying to go through the data and look up some of it. But I mean, let's check on Sword and Shield as well, just because I'm curious. I have a feeling, in my opinion, it feels like Sword and Shield probably will be the next era to move again, because Sun and Moon tag teams have really gone up so much. Battle Style is still at 202. Let's see, Chilling, Evolving. Celebrations is the other one that's obviously moved a lot. I should have probably queued these up before, but this caused my computer some issues last time. So Sword and Shield is more or less flat right now, I think, or maybe not flat, but like it's been chilling for the last couple weeks. Nothing too crazy going on, but it does feel like maybe once all that money filters through Sun and Moon, and I mean, it could still go to Scarlet and Violet if we don't see more reprints. But obviously, Pokemon has plans to reprint some of these things, I'm sure. Let's see. Thoughts on Silver Tempest booster box? Let's look at Silver Tempest. I think it's still, like Rudy said, around like 350. I personally, if you could get it at like 340 or something, I wouldn't mind. See, like, I guess it's 345 plus 15 shipping, but I mean, it's doing very well. All Sword and Shield is doing very well. I still regret not picking this up when it sold out, or before it sold out from Pokemon Center. But more or less flat on the month. Last 3 months up 30%, so it climbed another like 30, 40 bucks. But I like Silver. I personally like Brilliant more at the current prices. Like, and maybe even, well, I don't know about Astral, but let's take a look at Brilliant and Astral. I like Brilliant at 400 more than I like Silver at 360. I think Brilliant is a much stronger set. I know it just has the Charizard and the Arceus, I guess, but obviously the trainer gallery is extremely strong. I know Silver Tempest also has the Rayquaza in this trainer gallery, which is good, but in Astra at 388, yeah. I mean, I think of these three, honestly, I think Brilliant is still the best pickup. That's just me personally, but I like Brilliant at 400-ish more than I like Silver at 360. However, I do obviously, I mean, I would acknowledge that the Lugia is like one of the best alt arts. I think this card still is probably not fully priced in yet. Or I think rather it has room to go on another run. It's down from about like 300 or so, right? Yeah. In February. It's starting to rebound though. Like, it went from low 250s to like 270 now. So if you can pick this one up for a discount. But as far as sealed goes, I think Silver Tempest is still a good buy. I just like Brilliant more personally. That's my personal opinion. That's not financial advice. That's just when I look at Silver Tempest as a set, and I know Silver Tempest got a huge reprint at the end there with Lost Origin. But I also just think it has a much weaker trainer gallery. Granted, all these trainer galleries are great. Like, they're so good. But look at this. I mean, this is so stacked. You have all the... I've been saying this, but I'm not here to shill Brilliant, because I have one case of Brilliant and one loose booster box of it, I think, or maybe two. But it has all 4 full art evolutions here. It has a Zekrom full art, Mimikyu V, which I think is one of the best trainer gallery cards. Mimikyu VMAX trainer gallery, Sylveon V and VMAX, Umbreon V and VMAX. I think people who can't afford cards like the Moonbreon or the Sunbreon or whatever, this will be their next best option, at least currently. Currently at the moment. Hey, bro, really appreciate the great content. Thank you, card vibe. I'm trying to work on putting more videos out. I know I've been doing the streams more consistently with guests, but I'm trying to do one solo stream a week as well as post more of the regular videos. I haven't been on top of the regular videos, but I'm going to try to get on top of it. In my country, Silver Tempest are around 300 euros. What is that USD, like 330 or something? Euro to USD, 348. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty close. And yeah, I don't mind it at that price. What is if you don't mind me asking, Hyde, what is the Lugia V priced at? I'm just curious if the singles are super different. Brilliant is so slept on, especially with all the evolution tax going on. Yeah, this is like, I think this is such a good, I think it's such a good trainer gallery. And yeah, the evolution tax is not something to be faded for sure. I mean, honestly, there's other ones too, like Lost Origin, I think doesn't have a very strong trainer gallery. It has both Pikachus, which are great, but some of the full art ones I don't think get the full respect they deserve. Like you have a Gengar, Pikachu, and Charizard, and you have a gold Mew. And the Snorlax I really like. Snorlax at $6, guys. Like this is as much as the 151 promo, I'm pretty sure. Let's pull up like the ETB promo that gets reprinted in mass, which I do think is also a play right now, but this card is worth more than it. Granted, it might have better art, but I think that's more of a subjective thing. But yeah, $8.50. Between $6 and $8, it looks like more close to that $8 range. But the Lost Origin one is still at, for near mint, $6 pretty consistently. And I don't think there is more of these in supply than these. Granted, again, 151 is such a popular set that as long as the ETBs continue to do well, I think this card will continue to get some benefit from that as well. I mean, up 50% in the last 3 months is nuts. You could get this card for $5 a few months ago. You probably could still if you're a vendor at a show and you pay 70%. I know that let me just show you guys real quick. And apologies for my scuffed setup. I literally just put this thing back here. Tried to create a wall because it was so blurred, or it wasn't working when I would blur it. But I just want to show you guys. I was able to pick these up for 70% at the last card show. So I literally, one of these is a Pokemon Center one, but it's like I was getting the sealed. That's probably so loud for you guys. I'm sorry. Bunch of the Noctowls, a couple of the, can't show it. Well, anyways, that's the SV base Koraidon. There's a Miraidon. There's a bunch of them. I mean, even the, I got 3 of these. I got 3 of the Ends Reshiram stamped. Journey Together stamped for 70% as a vendor. And I mean, I'm not even trying to take advantage of people. It's like people will literally ask if you're buying at those percentages sometimes and just be like, I'm just trying to get rid of this stuff. It's like, all right, let me help you out. If you have the capital to do it, it can be beneficial. There are some of the promos that I will sell off. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the Pekkarunt, but I know the Shrouded ETBs are doing a bit better now. But lowest on the card is 289 euros. So yeah, that's like 300 plus. So that might still be a good pickup for the sealed boxes. Anything you would pick up in your opinion, advice to pick up, just your opinion? Yeah, so I've had a couple people ask me this recently. Really, this is going to sound bad, but the play I've been making, and this is like a super speculative play. I called it out a couple streams ago, but it's already proving to work out pretty well. I've been buying some of the rainbows. I bought 2. Let me see if I can turn off the blur on this real quick. So I bought 2 PSA 10s of the Latios GX Rainbow Rare. My logic on that really... So just broad picture here. What I'm personally picking up is some of these more popular Pokemon in the rainbows just because they're fairly scarce, and a lot of the tag teams are going on a run. That's not to say that these can't go crashing down, because they have not been popular for a long time. But I just want to show you guys my thesis here, and I've mentioned this in several live streams, but the Gengar Mimikyu GX Rainbow is like $1,300 in a PSA 10. Last sold $1,325. But the Latios is like, I mean, I got these for less than 500, or about 500 each. But the alt art Latios is twice as expensive as the Gengar Mimikyu. So that was kind of my logic, was that I expected the rainbow to start doing well. Also, with some of this Mega Evolution stuff, there are Mega Latios, which it looks like from those leaks there could be potential for that. Let me see if I can pull that up. I know Poke Notify posted it, which, take this with a grain of salt, right? Because even when I posted this on my story, these are not like fully confirmed pictures, but I can't zoom in. But there is people are circulating this around a Mega Latias card. So I don't mind making a play on the rainbows. I just think that's something where, that's just me personally. I just felt like it was the right time to start buying some of the Sun and Moon rainbows. They are getting pretty expensive though. So if you are tight on cash, what I've personally been starting to buy is quite literally this card. I've also been buying now the, let's see, it's probably under best selling, I guarantee you. Yeah, so honestly, you could just look up what the best selling cards are right now, and probably some of these are what I'm picking up. I'm picking up the Eevee from Prismatic. And the way I'm looking at this now is just like, we've seen cards like the Glass Birds bounce back from, I mean, being like $10 a card. They probably were less at some point, but I know I was buying them at like 10 or 11 bucks. If those can bounce back, I don't see why cards like this can't 2x when Pokemon stops reprinting. I mean, Snorlax has already gone from $5 to almost $10 in a 3-month time. When this dries up, you know, there's just not that many ETBs in circulation for 151 anymore. A lot of it's been opened, and it's not gotten a reprint. Prismatic, on the other hand, you have a little bit more risk on profile here, in my opinion, because they are trying to reprint the shit out of ETBs as best they can. However, I really like this promo. I don't see why it can't do well long term. Again, these are sort of like longer term plays I'm looking at. I still like the Charmander promo. It is a little bit more expensive. This is one that I'm also looking at. So these two, actually, both these Pikachus, I really like. I'm definitely like, this is probably the one that I feel most underexposed to right now that I really want. I believe this is the Paldea Evolved ETB promo. I mean, I was just showing recently the Sword and Shield promo. Where is it? I don't know where I put it. Oh, right here. Sorry, I should have had all this stuff out, but I didn't think we're going to dive into it. I just picked up a bunch of these last weekend at the show. These are the Sword and Shield one. These are really expensive now. These are $44 a piece, so I paid up for them. They're in pretty decent condition, so I'm going to try to grade them. But I feel like this card is very similar for the Scarlet Violet era. These have all 3 of the starters on them. This card used to be so cheap. Let's look it up. I wonder if I could look up price charting on this one. Pikachu Sword and Shield. What promo number is this? 20. First one. Let's see. So these are for the raw ones. Oh, wow. So this one, I mean, okay, I got down to $23. All right, so this one, this one I don't have as good of an argument on. I just think if you look at the PSA 10s, guys. PSA 10s are selling for $400 to $500, and the raw is like a tenth of that price. Granted, they're probably pretty hard to grade, but I have very good looking copies. But I really like these promos as well. Both of these Pikachu promos I like. I like this one a little bit more at the same price just because it has the starters as compared to one of the starters, Sprigatito, with Palmot and those Moush holds. But these are both great promos. This one comes from the Adventure Chest, I think, which is a cool product. But if you can get these for a slight discount, I think these are a good pickup. Granted, you're playing in a ballpark with people who have hundreds of copies of these potentially, but you're also, I think there's a pretty good track record of some of these promos, specific promos. Like, don't get too deep in the weeds here, guys. Like, do not try to find like super niche promos that, are just one-off promos. Like, I'm looking for the popular promos that I can find at a discount, especially sealed. If you can get them at that 70% that I was talking about, I think those are snap buys. I'm only a newish eBay TCG seller, and I wish I could pick up a ton of promos for 70%. My advice, go to a local card show. You have probably a mall near you. It depends where you live. Again, in the US, at least, most major states and cities now have, or places close by, a few hours away from you, have local card shows. I would go to there, try to get a vendor table. I know it's really tough right now. You can probably even buy as just someone shopping around in some of these shows. I would not try to, don't try to steal deals from vendors, but a lot of these places have trade nights and things like that. So you can work out deals to get these at a discount. But obviously, yeah. I know this isn't like an opportunity everyone can take advantage of. So definitely not trying to show off. Like, it is like, you got to be set up pretty well. But here's the thing, guys. Like, you can join. I've joined like 30 Facebook groups. If you put out a mass buy post for these cards and you say, I will buy this card. Let me get like, what is calculator? I mean, 70% of that is going to be like $5 or something. What is it? What is that? The EV, let's just say. So let's just say it's $7. Let's say it's $8. 70%. $5.50. Like, you can literally put out buy posts for these cards. It depends whether you want them raw or sealed as well, because most of them typically have a sealed premium. But I mean, you can pick these up for like $5 a piece, probably pretty easily, because there's gonna be sellers that have hundreds of these promos, hundreds of them. Maybe they opened the ETBs for streams or something, and they just have so many left over. I know it seems like it's hard to find these opportunities, but if you join certain communities, you join certain groups, and you just be patient, or you put out constant posts, or you have products that people want that you can trade for, there will be opportunities for you. So don't think that there is an opportunity out there. I think Crown Zenith ETBs are a good buy right now. Yeah, you're probably right. They are getting pretty expensive, but if we're looking in comparison to like a lot of the, what's it called? A lot of the Scarlet Violet era stuff, it's probably pretty good prices. Because I think they're like 170. Oh, they're jumping 182. So this is another card I've been buying, actually, guys. I'll just point this one out. Just because a few of them came to me at the show. I don't know where I put them. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah. So here we go. I have two, but I'm going to try to get more. But this is another card I've been buying. Again, not financial advice, not telling you what to buy. I'm just saying this is a Pikachu secret rare from Crown Zenith. I like the card. Crown Zenith is a banger set. It's a secret rare. There's tons of them graded, but it still does pretty well. Here's another one from Crown Zenith I've been picking up, which I've talked about in videos before. Granted, I think the price actually went down, so I didn't do too hot on calling that one out. That's why I'm trying to call out less plays in my actual videos, which again, I know I'm not very consistent with right now, but I don't want to give people, I don't want to tell people what to buy because everything is like subjective in the sense that like any of us could be wrong. I'm sort of just banking on the fact that, don't fade Pikachu. Pikachu usually does pretty well over time. And I think this card's a banger, so I don't see why it can't do well. But yeah, Crown Zenith ETBs are doing pretty well. I mean, when I checked on them like a week ago, I swear they were like 170. Yeah, mid 170s. Now they're up to 182. So again, yeah, if you could find these at a decent discount, could be a good buy. The set itself is pretty stagnant, sort of. I know some of these singles have started to go back up, but these are kind of like more or less the same prices they've been for a long time. I think the supply on this set is probably, or not the supply on this set, but just the popularity of it will probably keep it as a pretty good long-term pick. But yeah, there's this is another one I've been picking up actually. Shout out to Josh, the old card shop. He talked about this one on his podcast with Retrospecs. I think this one's just too cheap. Like it should not be $4. I don't know where the copies I have are. I think I only have a few. But Wobbuffet is I like Wobbuffet too. Like when I watched Pokemon growing up, Wobbuffet is such an iconic character for Team Rocket that I like the look of this card. $4 just feels like you can't lose. Like if you can get this for $3 or $4 sealed, especially, I think it's probably like $9 or $10 sealed. But if you can get it like $4 or $5, let's just say, you really can't go wrong with a promo like this. Now, I'm not saying you need to stockpile hundreds of them, and I'm not trying to give you financial advice. I'm just saying like there are tons of great cards out there and products that if you believe in them, you can probably do pretty well. But again, I wouldn't start scrolling down here and looking at a pre-release Darmanitan and trying to make a play on it. There's just like some of the more popular Pokemon, popular cards. I know the Team Rockets, or not Team Rockets Mewtwo, but the Mewtwo and the Mew, I think, are both on the move again, too. These cards you used to be able to get for like $2, I'm pretty sure. Look at this. Look at this. A year ago, you could get this promo for $2. If you held on to those cards for a year, you'd be up 10x, 1,000% on that one. I think the Mew got down to like $3 or $4, $5. $5. It is now $37. People had these in mass at the shows. Granted, you can't. I mean, you can't know. Like you're not gonna know. But like cards like these, yeah, when they start getting in that low range, that's kind of how I feel about like. That's how I feel about the Eevee and the Snorlax. I know Snorlax like isn't the most popular Pokemon, but that 151 ETB has a lot going for it. I still think the Charmander has room to grow. I know this one's been pretty steady though for a while. The Mewtwo and Mew story is crazy though, because that thing just absolutely rebounded. I mean, even the Charmander was $7. Now it's $24, so 3x on that. There's probably other promos as well, other exclusive promos that could do well, but I try not to get too in the weeds. Like Eevee, Snorlax, I feel okay making plays on those. Pikachu, obviously, I really like this one. I think this is probably the one I'm really going to try to make the biggest position on. And when I talk about big position, I'm talking I'll probably buy like 20 or 30 of them. Like I wouldn't go higher than that. For me personally, I'm not that risk on, but yeah, I really like that one. Let's see what else. Need to pick up more Pikachus, but finding gradable copies at shows are so hard. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Even with these, like I'm not even looking for gradable copies necessarily. I'm just picking up near mint ones, and keeping them raw. So I don't even want to spend the $20 to grade a $5 card right now and risk getting a 9. But if you're looking for gradable copies, yeah, it can be pretty tough. You'd probably have to buy the sealed ones of promos if you want to get gradables. But that's just my thought. Bought one of those Pikachus with Sword and Shield stars, and I thought it was clean. Had 2 print lines. Yeah, a lot of Scarlet Violet stuff has print lines, sadly. Hobby is all hindsight nightmares. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, guys. Like, again, I could be completely wrong on these, right? Like, my issue is that I've faded promos for so long because I'm like, they're in such high supply that there's no way these things do well long term. And I've been proven wrong almost every single time. Um, Now, I'm not buying Magneton promos. I'm not buying these kind of very niche Charizard promos. The Mimikyu probably will do well, but I'm not buying the Mimikyu right now. But I just think that the popular stuff continues to be popular regardless of how I feel about how many are out there. And that really comes down to demand. It's not the supply even. I mean, there's thousands of all these cards out there and somehow the price continues to go up. So the one thing I will caution you on, people have hundreds, if not maybe even thousands of copies of these cards to some degree. So just keep that in mind. This is a very risky play, in my opinion. In the near term, like next 2 to 3 years, quite risky. But I do like a lot of these promos. There's even, I'll show you guys another one I just learned about today that I was not aware was doing so well. This card right here, this RCSV promo. Again, please do your own research. Please do not just buy things because I'm showing them or because you think that there's just a huge arbitrage opportunity here. This RCSV used to be like a $5 card. Probably, yeah, a year ago. It's $18 now, but I'm pretty sure the 10s are like 350 bucks. RCSV Sword and Shield 204. So granted, it's harder to get a 10, but yeah. Last sold 340. Again, kind of risky with some lower sales recently, but 340 and the raw one is $18. So let's do our trusty calculator. 340 divided by 18. Well, actually, let's add the PSA fee. So let's say 340 divided by 40. We'll just do it like it's $20 card plus $20 grading fee. 8.5x. So that's still a very good return. So there's still opportunities out there for some of these niche cards. Again, you might not be able to find them in good condition, but I remember being able to pick this card up for $5 all the time. I know this Lucario is also becoming very popular because of the megas, also because Crown Zenith is doing so well. And I know people have hundreds of these. Like Crown Zenith got down to $30 in ETB, $35 in ETB at one point. So there are people with hundreds of these. I mean, this card was less than $1 a year ago. Absolutely nuts. Less than $1 to $8. But yeah, I would consider this like I would think of like low, like not pretty much like penny stocks where like they are very risky where they could completely flip on a dime. Another one, I mean, this is one that Latias Row, who I've done some collab posts, has talked about recently. This one is crazy. These Evolution VMAX promos, these have been popping off. These ones are harder to grade, I will say, but the 10s are selling for absolute money. I think there's actually better sales than that. Let me try to see. Yeah, feel free to shoot any more questions on these ones. Let's see. I thought there was, yeah, I mean, there's ones at auction ending over $800 for both Vs and VMAXs. So I think Alt is probably behind. That doesn't look like a legitimate comp. Oh, that's December 2024. Yeah, $1,000, 1245, 1,000. These are older. These are Portuguese. So these cards are on the move too. And you can see that also being reflected in the raw price is starting to go up like 20%. But yeah, what else do you guys have? And then we'll jump into the last part of the video. Because I've already been going for 50 minutes. I want to keep this one kind of short because I want to go to the gym. But I will pull up some links. If you guys want to ask questions, feel free and go ahead. Well, actually, there's not too many links to pull up, but essentially the last point I was just going to make on why I think, I mean, this is a super dragged out video, or stream for this topic, but the last point I was going to make was just like, Pokemon's been doing so many collabs. I was starting to pull up some of these earlier. So let's see. They had a Razer collab. They had a Pokemon Lego collab. Pokemon IP is like everywhere. I know they have been for a long time, but they're starting to get some big ones. So Pokemon's doing a. Can I please not look at that? Pokemon is doing a Lego collab next year, I think, which is huge. I know my girlfriend and I will be building whatever set that is, probably. They're doing collabs with like gaming companies like Razer. They're doing a Pokemon Go collab with the MLB. Look at this. All MLB ballparks will feature all new official club branded Pokestops and gyms so trainers can play Pokemon Go wherever they are sitting in the ballpark. The MLB has millions, tens, hundreds of millions of fans. Well, maybe not hundreds of millions, tens of millions of fans. The MLB posted it themselves on their website too, so you know this is a real thing. Pokemon Go night, bro. Like literally a night at the stadium dedicated to Pokemon Go. I don't even play Pokemon Go anymore, and this is major bullish for Pokemon. Pokemon Go club branded merchandise at participating clubs, exclusive in-game avatars, raid battles, all this stuff. Like this is super bullish on Pokemon. I don't know why anyone thinks things are slowing down. I know, let's see, like Pokemon Pocket revenue. I know it's some insane number. Look at this. Generated since its release on October. This is within what, 8 months? Since the start of the bull market, since Surging Sparks and stuff came out. $600 million in in-app purchase revenue. The game was downloaded over 100 million times and received Best Mobile Game nomination at the Game Awards in 2024. Like, are you kidding me? Are we saying we're not bullish Pokemon after seeing all this? I think people are too narrow focused. I've said this before on just the cards themselves. When you look at the brand, everyone says the top grossing media franchise in the world. This is why. Like they're doing stuff on all fronts. They're not letting up. They're not slowing down. They're continuing to ramp up and get involved. Yeah, waiting for the McDonald's. And that's the other thing. They just had one, didn't they? Didn't they just have a McDonald's collab? I know which one you're talking about, but yeah, January. They just had a McDonald's, these Happy Meal ones. Again, the promos are whatever. Promo is probably worth nothing, but just the fact that they've continued to have these collaborations is nuts. But yeah, Chanfree, the one you're talking about, I believe, is this one, the Japanese McDonald's. So yeah, more bullish Pokemon news. Obviously, I think this is Japan exclusive, but this is sick. Like this is going to be a great card. And I'm not someone who like collects super niche stuff, but I'll probably pick up one of those Pikachus just to have it. Cause why the hell not? And it's to promote their mega set, which is again super bullish for the next era. So Happy Meal toys for people in Japan with Pokemon. That's another big one for surely. And yeah, I know that Pokemon, another one is Pokemon Worlds is starting to become more and more mainstream. I know a lot of collectors and stuff and even like vendors are going to Pokemon Worlds. I don't think they can actually vend at Pokemon Worlds, but a lot of people are going just to get cool exclusive merch and record content and stuff, which probably was always a thing, but it never really crossed into the mainstream as much until like more recently. I feel like it was more of a players thing as far as I'm aware. I could be totally wrong, but it's just come into like my peripherals more recently, I want to say. Yeah, so this is a great point. Seeing One Piece do crazy stuff at a Dodgers game makes me feel like Pokemon wants to do some of that too. 100,000%. One Piece is doing very, very well, as well as far as that Dodgers promo absolute smash hit. Let's just check that really quick, just for people that, I mean, there's no way people don't know, but let's just see. One Piece Dodgers card. So they gave you a hat and a promo, and it's for Shohei Ohtani of all people. Like, it's very, again, bullish One Piece. And then I think they also did a Borussia Dortmund one. Wasn't it like BVB promo? Yeah, so this is for, I think, Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund. I can't pull up the, there we go. A One Piece. So this is for a, I think they're, I could be, hey, don't call me, I could be wrong. I think they're Dutch or German. Borussia Dortmund. Let's just see so that I can be correct on this. Dortmund. German? German Professional Sports Club. Yeah, so they literally had a German club team that they got a promo for as well. So yeah, to your point, Chanfrey, I do think Pokemon wants some of that pie as well. And they're competing with One Piece and Bandai probably to try to expand into these other markets, these other not disciplines, but like into sports, into gaming, into Legos and toys, into food and McDonald's. They obviously have clothing already. They have collabs with Crocs. They have collabs with Levi's. They have collabs with Uniqlo. I mean, they're all over the place. They are all over the place. Have you seen the new Chinese Pokemon tournament promos? Could be the move. I don't know if I've seen those ones. Let me see if I can pull that up. Chinese. Oh, are you talking about the? It's not a Victini, is it? Do you know which one you're talking about, Connor? Could you let me know? Let's see. I think that kind of covered most of the points I wanted to talk about. I mean, obviously you have like celebrities as well. Ever since like even back when like Post Malone did that song, that was a big one. But more recently, you've had a lot better marketing from Pokemon. And in the collectibles world, I mean, even with, I hate to say Labubu, but like collectibles as a whole, it seems like they're becoming more socially adopted, and they're just exploding at like a growth that I don't think suggests any of this is shrinking. The amount of people that go to these card shows that I've been going to is like increasing drastically. I know like Front Row, for example, that I do, they've pretty much doubled their table size the last couple of shows. Let's see, Pokemon card show. I don't know if there's like, well, that's not. But I mean these are like local shows that are this poppin'. Like, that's crazy. But like, I know if I do like Front Row card show, these are the ones that I've been vending. It's like some of them that we've done are like shoulder to shoulder with how packed it gets in there. It's pretty nuts. You can never go wrong with Pikachu. What do you think about the Prismatic Pikachu Hyper Rare? Gem rate is very low. I'm not the biggest fan of hyper rares just because historically they don't do that great. Granted, let me see. I don't know what the actual card number is, so I'm just typing this in. Yeah, the gold Pikachu. I'm not the biggest fan of hyper rares. They have always done okay, but usually over time do not do the best. Because this card opened at $140 and you had people buying it at that. Granted, everything in Prismatic has a similar chart to this. I'm not just calling out the Pikachu. If I go look at any of the SIRs, they've all had the similar decline because the set is so popular. Like, I know the Sylveon was like $700 or something when it came out. So all of these cards have continued to have pretty harsh drops, but I would be cautious of the gold cards. They are harder to pull. I just know historically, especially from like Sword and Shield era, they do not do that well. And so that brings me back to my point here with the rainbows that I brought up. These are a very risk on play, in my opinion, just because historically they have not been popular. No one liked the rainbows for the longest time. I just started picking them up because they had tag teams and some of the popular Pokemon that I thought were going to do well, and they've already seen some moves, so it's not like it's a complete secret, but I just felt in my gut like it was the right time to start buying them. TBH, I just got back into Pokemon only 7 to 8 months ago, so I missed all the sets between Legendary Treasures to Stellar Crown when the crash happened. Yeah, a lot of people have just been getting back in. A lot of people I know got back in because of 151. Obviously, Prismatic has caused a lot of folks to get back in, whether it's for monetary reasons or because they actually want to rip the set. But yeah, I mean, it's I definitely wouldn't feel pressure to go back and try to chase everything between now and then. Did the dark times of Sword and Shield happen because of the set not being hype, or was it because of COVID ending and printing? Because every set that I see are bangers in the future. I think it's a mixture of things. I think what you said, COVID era or COVID ending, and they pretty much ramped up printing. I think right when the demand was starting to fall. The first few sets in Sword and Shield were super weak. I know a lot of people at the time they were strong sets. So like the most talked about one probably is like Champion's Path, Vivid Voltage, Darkness Ablaze, but mainly Vivid Voltage is the one people bring up because I believe the boxes got upwards of like $300, and the Pikachu was like over $1,000 in PSA 10. I won't be able to show the chart. Let me see if I can get Vivid Voltage booster box. So it's a combination of things. It was because they ramped up the printing aggressively. I don't think this is. Oh, it doesn't show it because it came out before price charting existed. But I'm pretty sure there was definitely sales in the 220, 230, but I think there was sales upwards of 250 to 300 probably at one point. And it's just now getting back to those prices like 5 years later. So the first couple sets were not good at all in the sense that I think just over time, once the alt arts came out, people would realize that those first couple sets were not good. But yeah, Pokemon was mass producing at the time in terms of Shining Fates got absolutely printed into the ground. There was obviously the infamous one that people bring up, which is Chilling Reign, Battle Styles, Fusion Strike. And there was not quite the culture we have now with the rip and ships and everything. There was streaming at those times when I was joining, but it was like all on Twitch. It wasn't like Whatnot and other things back then. But yeah, I think a lot of it was coming off the tailwinds of Logan Paul and that boom. And then I think once that started to die down, Pokemon reprinted like a ton of those sets, and the demand just was not there for it. So you saw a bunch of those prices plummet to below $100 a box. I think Pokemon has learned their lesson. I think a lot of these TCGs have learned their lesson. If you look at like these most recent sets, probably besides like Surging Sparks and a few others, but even Surging Sparks, they're not able to keep up with the demand. Like no matter how much of this box they print, it's just not enough. Like, they got it to go down to 210 at its lowest, I think. Like, look at that. I mean, they did nothing to it, like, since it came out. You could have gotten it in the low 100s, and these are the big reprints, right? Look at these dips. These are the big reprints that Pokemon was giving us. From 260 down to 210, 215, darn. Back up to 240, they reprint again. Oof, 215, and now it's back up already to 240 again. So it doesn't really matter how much they print of these unless they really get like it probably needs to be like more than just thousands of boxes. They probably need tens and tens of thousands of boxes to if prices were really going to come down. I think the problem is they're already so far behind on ones from the early SV era that they're just not going to go back to them. So those sets are pretty much starting to cook, so to speak. Pretty much SV based through, I think it's Paldean Fates is the last one that will phase out next year. And all those sets are doing very well. Even Obsidian Flames is doing well, which is crazy. But I think it's a multitude of things. It's hard to compare the eras because Pokemon has done nothing near what they did in Sword and Shield. The quality of the product is better. Like I know they still have hyper rares and stuff, but the illustration rares and the special illustration rares were a huge change to these products. Like having 3 illustration rares per box gave people like you pretty much got like a satisfactory opening experience, even if you didn't hit an alt art. In Sword and Shield, the alt art pull rates were so much harder than the SIRs now. Now, granted, some of these SIRs from these later sets from I think Paradox is the first time they increased the pull rates. So let me do this actually, just because I'm curious. I should get a spreadsheet of this just so I can show you guys in the future. TCG player. So Obsidian Flames pull rates, TCG player. Wait, let me. How do I want to do this? I want to show you guys like a side by side of when it started to increase the pull rates, just because it's cool to see. Oh man, is it really going to be like this? Let's see if I can open this. Obsidian Flames versus Paradox Rift versus Temporal. This will be a good one to compare these 3. Because I think 3 sets back to back to back, they increase the pull rates. Let's pull up all 3 of these. Okay. All right. So starting with Obsidian, I think this is probably the same as SV Base, Paldea Evolved, and Obsidian. Your pull rates are down here. 1 out of 13 packs, you would get an illustration rare, which I think is still pretty consistent. You get 3 per box. 1 out of 32 packs, which is essentially 1 per box, you would get a special illustration rare. So you had a chance of getting the Charizard or the Pidgeot or whatever. When you go to Paradox Rift, the pull rates increased from 1 out of 13 for an IR to the same, 1 out of 13. It increased for the SIRs from 1 out of 32 to 1 out of 47. So you had to do 1.5 boxes. And then from Paradox to Temporal, again, these are all sets 3, 4, and 5. Paradox to Temporal, it became 1 out of 86 packs to hit an SIR. And I believe that's pretty consistent with even to the most current set. I believe they are still probably in that 1 out of every 90 to 100 packs or something like that. The IRs, they pretty much guarantee you 3 IRs per box. But SIRs now have gotten significantly harder to pull. Granted, it's still not as difficult as Sword and Shield. I know for like, I think Evolving Skies is like 1 out of like 1,400 packs you get a VMAX alt art. Whereas here we're talking 1 out of 800 to 900 packs. That's still a lot of packs, guys. Like if we multiply, even at $4 a pack, like you're not spending that amount of money to open packs. Let's see. They need to do something about hyper rares, like One Piece mangas or something. Yeah, it's hard because you can't make every card. Like the SIRs are their top rarity right now. I agree they could be doing more with hyper rares because I don't like the fact that they just make hyper rares a alternate version of an already existing full art. So like if we look at the Garchomp, obviously, and we find the where is it? Down here? Yeah, the regular Garchomp. Like I don't like this. I don't like that we're talking about okay, this I just messed this up. I don't like that these cards are the exact same and one is just gold and one is not. And the fact that this is harder to pull than an SIR, I think they should scrap that idea altogether. They should either make the SIRs harder to pull or make these cards more desirable, in my opinion, other than just the color of the card. But I think that was one of the weaknesses with Sun and Moon era and Sword and Shield era was nobody wanted these cards. Nobody wanted these rainbows. I can't get this to focus. At the time, still most people don't want them. The only reason people want them now is because they're going up in price, or they think they're worth more because all the alt arts and tag teams are going up. But yeah, I mean it's they need to do something probably, but I don't think they're too worried about it right now. Let's see. Oh my god, sorry guys. Do you think Whatnot will stay dominant, or will competitors like TikTok and Drip beat them? I don't personally like. I have not used Whatnot, to be honest. Like, I think I entered a giveaway one time. I don't even have the app on my phone. I think it's too much of a gamble. I don't like paying someone to open packs. If it was like a creator I really supported, I understand why people do it, or if you just want to hang out with people. But I am not a fan of it. But the same goes for TikTok or Drip to me in terms of like me personally. Do I think they'll stay dominant? Probably not. I can't see why. They have a large percent of market share and they have a really good platform from what I hear. So I'm sure they will be one of the biggest players. But yeah, I'm sure TikTok or whatever the US version that they're trying to make, I'm sure it will compete with Whatnot. As far as like if it actually captures market share or not, that's a different question probably. But I don't think it really matters. I think the important and bullish thing from this is that Whatnot and these other platforms are continuing to grow, and more people than ever are opening up Pokemon cards at mass scale. So for people like me who invest in sealed product and to some extent singles and slabs, it's still bullish Pokemon to have more people joining the hobby. And whether they're speculating on it as an investment or wanting to genuinely open it and enjoy it, which like here's the thing too, guys. Like I know there's always an argument that like investors are like the problem, but I am someone who still enjoys the cards just as much as you guys. Not a lot of you probably invest in this stuff too, but I enjoyed the artwork on all these cards just as much as anyone else. There's an added element of enjoying the value in them as well. So yeah, I think we're in a good place in the hobby. Now I don't think we're in a good place in the sense that I do think Pokemon needs to be stepping up to the plate a bit more in terms of printing. I don't think sets should come out of the gate and be $280 a box or $270, whatever it was. Even Journey Together was like $250. I think there should be enough for people to actually sufficiently open the product and like flush through for more than a month, because that's a problem. It took just a few weeks. Destin came out the last day of May or towards the end of May. Let's just call it beginning of June. So it's been a month and a half, 6 weeks. and it's already started to climb back up, which is kind of concerning. But maybe they printed that set before they knew the market was going to take off. I do think a lot of people have been speculating that people will get crushed on the mega set. Let's pull that up. The mega set, mega evolution. Where's like the product list? Here we go. A lot of people think people will get crushed on this set. So, we have the enhanced booster box coming back. We have the enhanced Bulbasaur stamp, or the Mega Evolution Bulbasaur stamp. So a lot of people think that this is the set that's going to crush people in terms of they're going to over order it. It's going to be heavily printed and reprinted because it's a base set. And I don't know. I'm not going too heavy on anything right now because everything is over $200. I'm just taking deals as they come up. And other than that, I'm taking things pretty much at face value for what they are. But I don't think it's too much of a concern as of right now. We still had 1 million people, 1 million plus people in the queue on the Pokemon Center to get these ETBs. So the demand is still there as far as I'm concerned. So whether or not you think people are going to get crushed is another story. But it is I will say this. When the profit does start to leave, you will see prices continue to fall in terms of like once the resellers don't see an opportunity, you'll start seeing more stuff on the shelves. I think these products look great though. Like, I mean, you can't say these don't look good. So I'm excited for this set. It's awesome that it's funny that they even have a Psyduck and a Golduck. Like, obviously, objectively speaking, the Psyduck is going to be the the more sought after one. Look at that dude just chilling. But this set looks good to me so far. I know there's been the leaks of the those artworks. I don't know. They're not confirmed yet if they're real or not. But this set looks good. The ETB promos, I think, look good. I do think the Riolu is a bit stronger than the Alakazam. This is not my favorite Alakazam, and that's coming from someone who has Alakazam as their profile picture. But I'll probably still be picking up we'll revisit this set when it comes out, but I think the set will probably still do pretty well. I do think it will probably come out lower or maybe reach MSRP if they print enough, just because it's a base set. But people thinking that like this is going to be the end of the bull market or this is going to be what crushes Pokemon altogether, I think I'll believe it when I see it. This is an awesome one too with Wailord and Wailmer. This is probably one of the better check lanes I've seen in a while. They've been doing some pretty mediocre promos for some of these blisters. You also have a Tyranitar one here too, which is sick. That's awesome. Let's see what else. What card in Scarlet and Violet will be the new Moonbryon? I don't know if there will be one that will be the new Moonbryon. The one that I think is the best card personally for the entire era is the Bubble Mew. That's my opinion. I've heard a lot of other people say the same thing. I think this is probably the best card in the era. I'm bullish on Dedenne GX Altart. Is that the chubby, that one that like Jinkies or whatever her name is has? No, GX. Is it an Altart? Yeah, this one. It is a good looking card. I don't think it was. Let's see. I don't know what product this even comes out of. This was $1. Oh wait, that was damaged. Oh, it was still, yeah, it was a $2 card a year ago. $16, 700% gain. Crazy. Any thoughts on the 3 new Japanese Pokemon Center boxes? Heard they're doing more big drops. Is eBay a viable place to buy these? Let's see. I know which ones you're talking about. Pokemon Center special box. So they're still sitting around like 200-ish. I mean, eBay should be fine, I'm guessing. Here's my thing on these ones. I would still wait until people get these in hand personally. I'm not a fan of pre-ordering these products because I believe they are print to demand from what I've heard. So I would just be careful buying, even though they've come down to $200 a piece. I would be careful buying these. Or if they do go down more, just be okay with that, the possibility of them going down. And or if you want a dollar cost average down and buy more when they come down, you can also do that. Do I think these will do well long term? Yes, I do. Especially the Gyarados one. I think the Gyarados one is the best one in my opinion. I think it goes Gyarados, then Latias, then the regular the Hoka Pikachu or whatever. This one's pretty cool though too. Like there's no doubt. It's cool that they dropped 3 boxes at once. I do like that. But this one's my personal favorite, the Hiroshima Gyarados. It's a shiny Gyarados, guys. You cannot complain about that. This card looks sick. I'm annoyed that the Gyarados gets cut off in the artwork. Like, why would they do that? Because I guess it's a Pikachu card, that's why, but I don't know. Yeah, I would just be cautious with buying them if you're talking about like short-term, medium-term value, because I do think there's going to be a ton of these. But I would personally be waiting until these like are actually hitting people's hands. If they start to go up again, I'd rather buy them on the way up than on the way down. Like, I mean, look at this. What did that other one say? I thought one of them had like a huge amount of them sold. 38 sold. 36 sold. So there are places in Japan getting a decent number of these, but we'll see how many go out there. I definitely would like to pick one up at some point, but I probably won't be making a huge investment play on them, at least in the near term, unless prices come down a little bit more. I was trying to buy them at like 150 if they kept coming down. So, but yeah, this came unblurred. Let me know last minute questions you guys may have. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap it up soon and go to the gym. I really do appreciate all you guys being here. I'm gonna try to be more consistent with the lives. I know I've had to push a few of them, but we've been pretty consistent about having at least one a week with the guests. But I do want to do one solo one a week, just so I can chat with you guys and then also just share my thoughts because I have more fun doing this than pre-recorded videos, personally. But yeah, I think we'll continue to improve on them and just keep going. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I know it was a little bit staggered and slow to roll, and I'm still not very good with the screen sharing and stuff, but I will continue to get better. But yeah, I'll hang around for another 2 minutes or so. If there's no other questions, then everyone can dip out. Feel free to DM me on Instagram or whatnot. Not whatnot, but or on any other these other platforms. I am on X and Threads now as well. But I'm gonna drop my Instagram down below. Would appreciate you giving me a follow or sending me a message on there when I hop offline in a few minutes. Thoughts on new certs continuing to hold a premium over old certs? I think this is really only a thing for vintage cards, if at all. I haven't seen the actual price data, so maybe Will, if you have better knowledge on actual price comparison of old cert versus new cert. But yeah, this is really only a thing with vintage cards, and we're talking like I think 2 milli to 3 milli is like maybe even 4 is like old. I don't know when it becomes actually new cert. I think probably like when they started scanning stuff like 6 mil or 7 mil, but I don't think it's a big concern obviously for modern because the old certs just don't really exist for modern. Some XY stuff you have like 4 cert, I think, but I think it's really only a concern for vintage. As far as if you're going for condition, then yeah, you need to be able to to see the backs of those cards on older cert cards. And then me personally, I'm not a huge fan of vintage, so I don't think it will be a problem for me. But I could see, especially on a lot of these lower pop ones, you have like e-readers, for example, or a couple of these other level X's and stuff where they're like pop 30 to pop 60, and they have old cert cards. Yeah, I would assign slightly more value to a newer cert card that visually looks better on the front and back. And because these cards go for thousands of dollars. I mean, that's kind of the problem. So you might have like, I know Darkrai Level X is the example I can think of where one just sold for like $7,000. So if I had an old cert one that had some rough edges or whatever, yeah, I don't think it would sell for the same price. But I could be wrong. There are a lot of whales out there that just want the grade, or they're completing a set or collection, so they could be fine with that. But yeah, yeah, just DM me. Definitely, I probably should look into that too, just because, like for the content that I post on Instagram, try to make those sales posts. I probably should know how new cert and old cert compare. The problem ultimately with it is that even if they're old cert, a lot of those vintage cards just don't. The PSA 10s just don't sell often enough to get a good a most recent comp. Like even with especially in the bull market, where if a card's last sold was like a month ago, it could be drastically different than right now. Even if it's an old cert with a bad back, in my opinion, it could still sell for higher than a new cert that sold a month ago, and that just could be due to the market we're in. But if these cards were like selling at the same time within the same week or same few weeks, you might see a premium on the new cert, I'm sure. I know that like even when I was looking at some of these rainbows, I definitely was trying to find newer cert ones that I could see the backs on PSA's website. Just because I don't want to bring them to a show and then have someone look at them and be like, yeah, this one's chopped, dude. So, okay, guys, we're going to end it there. That is the link to my Instagram. If you're not already following me, please give me a follow. Feel free to message me on there, ZenForce TCG. Follow me on Twitter or X, Threads, TikTok, and obviously YouTube and Instagram. I'm going to be trying to post more often. Get one solo stream, one guest stream per week. If we can't get a guest, or if we can't get a recurring guest or a new guest, I will try to do another solo stream and try to be as consistent as I possibly can. So really appreciate all you guys tuning in. And we'll catch you guys next Tuesday. So tune in then. So yeah, thanks y'all. Peace out. See you next week.